Good, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just gonna quickly do something interesting that I've noticed with gold. I think the question I'm asking purely is this an opportunity to buy the dip for gold? Uh, what's important with gold right now to notice it's holding support, but it's also retesting the 50 MA close to the 100 MA moving averages, which is very interesting. But one thing that I've noted is the crowd sentiment with gold is looking a bit skewed. Most retail traders are bearish, but let's look at them directly. Let's speak about something that is clear that we have. The something that we have, and I'm using the EdgeFinder to show you that. So if you look at gold, it's called an AI scanner under the EdgeFinder. If you have EdgeFinder, you'll find us. So when you look at the technical naturally with the gold, you look at that is holding the 50 MA, is holding the 100 MA, it's holding the 200 MA, is still very bullish. On the technical side, daily chat, yeah, daily it's bearish, but however, current 10 years is narrative is still bullish, which I love. And I showed you that it's holding the 50, the 100, and the 200 MA. When you look at institutional positioning, I spoke about this. I'll show you now the institutional positioning for gold. COT net week positioning is still bullish. Institutions are still looking, they're holding a lot of gold. However, something to note, it's very critical to note, it's the CO2 weekly change, which is bearish. And that was reported on Friday last week. We saw a lot of close contract for about 43,000, but we'll go to the COT data to show you that. Sentimental bias is still bullish, which retail positioning is still bullish on. It's interesting. It's still bullish uh, on gold, but crowd bias is bearish. That's something to note. Crowd bias is still bearish. However, retail sentiment is bullish, but crowd bias bearish. I'll show you put to call ratio to show you that. So this is a plus one and plus two, which are the things that are bullish for gold right now. Come on, man. Okay. When you look at eco growth, this is purely looking at um, economic growth. We look at retail sales, that's bearish, PMI bearish, GDP growth. But reason for this is because when you look at in general, the USA economy is thriving. The US economy it's really striving. So I am not surprised to see uh, a -3 with eco or economic growth signals that are bearish for gold. And then we look at the job market signal. The job market signal, everything else is bullish except for unemployment rate lately that came out lower. But other than that, the jobs market, it's a problem. Hence, the Feds are in doubt if they will cut rates or increase rates. That is why we have a move like this. But inflation data, it is bearish for gold. CPI, it's a bit higher, but it's neutral as well. PMI, interest rates as well, they're stable, which are bearish, but long term we are likely gonna get rate cuts because of the jobs data. Jobs data leads to rate cuts. I don't know if that makes sense. The jobs data, the labor market in general, the US, a bit of a problem, even though the economic growth is good, and when you look at inflation, it's stable. But we might have to get rate cuts. But if we get rate cuts early, might be a problem in inflation. So in this case, we are probably gonna get rate cuts in one this quarter or one the next quarter, I think, and that will be bullish for gold in terms of inflation data. But something else that I want to speak about before we go to put to call ratio is the COT data, latest report that led to gold being the most sold weekly change, and the weekly change of the CO data. I am opening that. So these are things that I've been really noticing with gold, and maybe it gives an opportunity, a buy low type of stuff. If it's still holding the 50 MA and 100 MA, including the 100 MA as well. But if you look at gold here. Institutions have closed about 43,000 long contracts on gold, but I've already closed about 4,000 short contracts gold. This looks like this can be profit taking basically, but they've reduced metals. They've reduced metals or precious metals in general, and they have moved into buying a lot of long contracts and closing a lot of contracts in Nasdaq. But what's interesting is S&P 500 has taken a dip, but we are not talking about S&P 500 in this case. You look at S&P 500, they've closed a lot of long contracts, opened a lot of short contracts, but we are not talking about that here. We are talking about gold. So this is where we say a weekly change. It's bearish for gold. Crowd sentiments, when you look at crowd sentiment, the first one that gave me an idea that maybe I should be looking into buying the dip. General retail sentiments for gold, they are highly or uh, strongly bullish, right? Bearish, sorry. They're strongly bearish after the 7% down, basically from the high to where it is now, is about 13% down. And we see put to call ratio, they are literally bearish for gold. But when you look at retail sentiment, look at for gold. Retail sentiment is telling us that retail traders are starting to short gold, and most of us when we short golds in terms of retail, that's when I look to buy the dip, because yes, for the dollar is doing well. That is very bearish for the gold, but also there's a bit uncertainty with Trump that, sorry, I'm recording this 11 p.m. during the New York close, so I'm a bit sleepy South African time. But anyway, that have given me an idea should to say maybe I should start to look for long in gold. Only if I'm going to start to look for longs on gold, only if the EdgeFinder can start to give me a bullish reading, and we are still holding the 50, 100, and the 200 MA. Maybe that's when I will be looking into long in gold. For now, the EdgeFinder, oh, look at that. The EdgeFinder, it's not giving me any signal to go long, but I am definitely considering long in gold once the Edgefinder start giving me a bullish reading on precious metal. And what I wanted is this commodities metals. Here we go. Just opening the metal. So those are things that you'll be looking for. When you look at gold, it's neutral. Everything else is neutral. The only bearish one it's silver, but I'm not looking for that. But gold, look at gold trend. We starting to flip the trend. Reason being, the 4 hour time frame has changed to be bearish, but the daily is still bullish. Seasonality naturally is bullish for gold. COT data is neutral given the fact that, yes, as much as weekly they want to close a lot of um, contracts. However, crowd sentiment is bullish. Anything else, economic growth and consumer strength, it's bearish for gold. Looks like the US economy is doing quite well. However, something that to note is the jobs market, and I've already spoken about that. That is a bit of a problem. And with the closure of partial closure of the government might probably go to the upside. But for now, so what we want to see, perhaps to start seeing any change in the economic growth, if we start seeing any changes and the weakness of the US economic growth, PMI, also you have to look at inflation data that may be propelled. The direction of that will be determined by how good the economy is doing, but also what the Feds will decide to do. Will they cut rates now, given that there's a new chair coming? That's what will decide our next move for gold. But speaking about gold and even that, we move. That's where I'm saying technically, I'm starting to consider longing gold. Some of the prices that I'm looking for is this year holding the 200 MA or holding the 100 moving averages. That's where I'll be looking to long gold. So that's where I'm looking for. And I think that's what I wanted to speak about. It's for me, it seems interesting. If now, because of a small dip, the doomsayers are saying gold is the end of the gold rally for now. But also there is possibility for gold coming all the way down to retest the 200 MA. It can retest this on this demand area, the 200 MA, but also here we have to also consider that. But the only time I'll look into taking gold is if the EdgeFinder start to give me bullish reading, and that might be, we have to closely watch the economic growth, the US economic growth, and any changes in geopolitics. What's happening with the geopolitics, that will determine our next move for gold. But for now, considering longing gold, I'm closely watching gold. Thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I was just meant to make this video to speak about gold. Thank you, guys.